You're listening to the You Don't Know Me Yet podcast network.
Hey, you are tuned in to Two Gems and a Mic with hosts Tanisha the Diva Mahomes and Linda L.D. Dorsey. Just know, if we talking about it, you need to hear about it. Unwind and enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Two Gems and a Mic. I'm your girl LD, along with my girl Tanisha the Diva Mahomes, and our guest. I made you plural tonight. Our guest, Darren Smith. What's up, D?
Well, what's going on, ladies?
What's up,
Ready
Diva?
ready to talk some sports with y'all and set the record straight on some of these fools out here, these streets.
Yeah. We're gonna clown a little bit. We're gonna clown a little
No,
bit.
we gonna clown a lot. They have no idea what
We're gonna clown a lot.
in for. Yeah.
Before the show is supposed to be about the draft, but it's been some stuff that's been going on that we need to go ahead and we need to talk about, because we talk about it behind the scenes, so we're gonna talk about it in front of the scenes so y'all can hear. Let's talk about Nico. I ain't gonna say his last name. If anybody else knows how to pronounce it properly, feel free to say his name. Darren.
No.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, okay.
I better leave Nico alone. But
Yeah,
let's talk about
it's a hard name. I practiced in the mirror. It didn't work out. So I'm gonna go with Nico. So my understanding is he signed with UCLA, correct?
Oh, hold on. I thought you talking about Nico from the Dallas Mavericks.
No. I'm talking about Nico from Tennessee.
The
The young man with all the controversy we were talking about. I'm talking about Nico from Tennessee.
Nico Harris. I'm sorry.
No, we ain't got the basketball yet. We ain't there.
I know I pronounce I forgot. Well, okay. So what's your question on him? Because I thought
my question is, who do you think, like, the fault here lies with who? His father, his camp? I mean, because he's getting a lot of, backlash from this as a young man, and he didn't do all of this by himself. Do you think it's fair? You think it's uncalled for?
I mean, there's blame to go all the way around. I don't think it's just one particular person to blame. I wouldn't. Look, I'm a big proponent of, you sign a contract or whatever, you kind of honor it. But that's me. I know when he initially signed with Tennessee, while he was in high school, he was getting NIL money then, and the NCAA was trying to rule him ineligible. The Attorney General for the state of Tennessee sued on his behalf and got his eligibility and fought the NCAA. So I thought, right there, there should have been a little bit of loyalty going on right there. The sheer fact that he wanted more money, and I know he didn't get more money at UCLA. He might have gotten a little bit less, but I had also read or heard that he wanted the offense, improved or whatever, and supposedly they kind of went back and forth about that. Now I don't agree with him not showing up for practice and doing things like that. Before they decided to go, part ways with each other. But could it have been his agent, his advisors? Possibly, but again, if they want him, they felt strong enough about it. Tennessee could have found the money to give him more money if that's what it would have taken. But if they didn't believe in him, then they did the right thing by just going their separate ways. But I don't, I'm not going to fault him per se. I just think he might have gotten some bad advice, but
he definitely did.
But if he asked for the offense to be improved, I mean, I think he could have warranted that as well.
Tanisha?
Yeah, I mean, like Darren said, it's clear that he got some bad advice, but he's still a young guy. And we don't know how that's gonna turn out. He's gonna be going to UCLA, playing with his brother. I think his brother's transferring from Arkansas and everything. He's going back where he knows. I mean, if he turns a program around and they do well, nobody's gonna care. But I mean, yeah, it's obvious he got bad advice. I mean, it could have been handled a lot better, but they're young, and this is just like you had bad things to go wrong in the pros, and people hold out like over in Pittsburgh, the running back, and sometimes you mess up and you think you more than what you are, and you lose out. I mean, he gambled on himself, and we'll see if it paid or if it worked out or it didn't. I mean, hell, he might be at another school next year. Who knows? I mean, it's the portal. So
I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole because you know how I feel about that.
I know, but
yeah,
we know it can happen.
It
if he goes and balls out, who won't want him? Okay, that's then. True. So so we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But yeah, he got some bad advice. But he's young and he has an opportunity. Like I said at the last podcast, you can wake up every day, start anew, change, try to change, your trajectory, what your life is, and he go out there and put his head down and get his work in, and he end up being the player that they projected him to be. No harm, no foul.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next. Darren, you want? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me just add this. I don't. This is what happens when the NCAA, after almost 100 years of this, you're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I know people have issues with the portal. People got issue with NIL. Like I said, the only thing that I'm disappointed in, because this is going to be a life lesson for him. Because one, again, when he came out of high school, he had accumulated, I think, almost $8 million, in NIL that was going to take place over the 4 years. Again, athletes wasn't getting paid, 5 years ago or whatever. And the fact that you don't have to be in the NFL right now, you're making generational wealth money, at 18, 19 years old. That, again, I don't know if it's, I think once you get money involved and then you get quote unquote agents and handlers over a young person who may not have ever had money before. And, of course they talk about his father being involved.
It's a lot, Darren. You're right. It's a lot. And I said, like you said, trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, it's not going to happen. And that's kind of what I was talking about last week, Tanisha, when I was talking about guardrails, right? That you got to have some. It's just like, hell, look at the president of the United States. Ain't no guardrails around him, and he running them up. So if you don't have some kind of guardrails, then this is what you end up with.
Okay. Well, all right.
All right. So we also got
on the menu.
Say again.
Who else we got on the menu?
Yeah, on the menu.
Exactly.
We're gonna head over to Club Shay Shay. What is going on with Shannon Sharpe?
Man don't practice what he preaches.
Okay.
I mean, whether I'm not going to pick any sides as it relates to this lawsuit that he's finding himself in. All I know is what he has said and what he's come out and said publicly. Now, again, he talked about, as we kind of talked about before we got on the air, he talked about it on his own podcast, and he's talked about it on Undisputed. He's talked about it on other platforms as well, that because of a situation that he dealt with at CBS, he doesn't, even when he was at Fox, he never wanted to be in an environment where he was by himself along with the woman, whether it's in the elevator, workplace or what have you. And so he always said he always talked about he tries to hold himself accountable and not put himself in situations. But then you read what took, what's supposedly taking place, where he introduces, I guess he first met this accuser at the gym where they were working out at. And he approaches her, starts a conversation up with her, and in reference to what it states in the document, telling the young lady that if you can lose his weight, whoever wins his weight challenge, if you lose more weight than I do, then I'll buy you some tatas. So it's like, you didn't think that was appropriate to say that to a complete stranger in public?
No.
And so again, I just and my thing is that there's always a little bit of truth and stuff in these documents, stuff like that.
Smoke.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that it was reported by one of his own lawyers that he offered $10 million before, a couple months ago, before all this stuff came public, and they decided against it. So that tells me that there's some truth in there, because you offered to settle before this even became public. And the biggest thing that again that bothers me is that you put yourself in a situation that you didn't have to, but also you try to hold people like Deshaun Watson, some of these other athletes to account. But when it comes to you, you want us to give you that presumption of innocence. But when it was Deshaun Watson, some of these other
Yeah,
people,
you get a pass. No, you're not gonna get a
so
pass. I
yeah.
agree. I agree. Tanisha.
Play devil's advocate. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
go play devil's advocate. I'm gonna say, I hear, you said he offered to buy the woman some tatas. I mean, do we know in what context? Well, maybe he was saying, what do you guys want? What do you guys want if you end up winning? Maybe they say, I want some breast implants. And then he said, well, I'll buy you some tatas if you beat me. We don't really know in what context that was. And I hate to say it that way, but that's just a different generation. We got a lot going on there. I'm not saying that I'm taking Shannon's side. I'm just playing devil's advocate right now. I'm just saying I'm gonna give him a little grace until everything pops out. And to me, a settlement doesn't always necessarily mean what people say. Sometimes when you got enough money, you just want stuff to get out your way. I mean, he has an image that he's trying to uphold. He's probably trying to get back on a major network. So to him, it might be worth him to tell her to go somewhere and sit down.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson, Deshaun
And
Watson
money.
had.
I'm not talking about Deshaun Watson. I'm talking about what the settlement means to him, or what it may mean to him, what he is trying to protect. What he may have saw what Deshaun went through and said, hell no, I'm not trying to go that route. Let me see if I can wrap this up before this ends up ruining what I built. We don't know. But a
No, we
settlement
don't know. And you
always
can
mean,
take. I know.
it don't always mean you're guilty.
No, you can
No.
take it
Well,
other ways, but I'm
let-
not paying nobody.
yeah,
Let me just say something. I ain't
Yeah,
paying
I'm not
nobody
either.
a penny if I know I'm
I don't have
innocent.
that kind of
Because
money.
at the end of the day, that's what's gonna come out.
well,
That's what came out with old boy. So
well,
yeah.
and the only thing I want to add about Deshaun Watson was that what I was going to say was that he had 26 accusers. I think 24, 25 of them. He had a settlement of $5 million for it to go away amongst 24, 25 women. This man talking about $10 million to one woman. Now, you may want something to go away, but $10 million for a person who's doing who's doing a
Who's
podcast
lying?
and
Well,
Who you think is lying? Who you say is lying? That's a lot of money.
maybe,
So.
or maybe this $100 million deal was in the works, and 10 million sound like a budget.
It wasn't in the works though.
But
That
do
was
we
the
know
thing.
that wasn't in the works?
Because they said when the 10 million was offered and when the 100 million was offered, it was two different times. So it wasn't in the works.
and the $100 million
I said
hasn't been
maybe in the
offered.
works, not when it was offered.
Well, the $100 million.
Deals. Sometimes deals take a minute to
I understand that.
come to fruition.
I understand that.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not okay. I like you
And
said,
if
just play devil's advocate.
and I will say
Playing
this before we
devil's
move on.
advocate.
I will say this before we move on. You at least want to wait till the ink is dry on that $100 million because he hasn't gotten it before before you try to put out a lawsuit. Like make sure he's got the money in the bank or at least
Yeah.
contract
Right,
signed
you're
before
gonna
you
offer
start.
somebody that
Because now he might already have $10 million, but again, you want to waste it on that. Okay, that's your choice, but. But this whole situation might now preclude you from getting the $100 million because now ESPN may decide to go another route with to see, depending on how this turns out. And no. But I'm saying his contract with ESPN. I'm saying depending on how this plays out. I mean, because the audio of him talking about choking her was released while he was on the air today, online from TMZ. So now he's not on the rest of this week because he's only on Mondays and Tuesdays, but. Hey.
All right, that's enough for him. He
Good luck, Shannon.
yeah, he ain't on my Christmas list. So I could
no luck for you.
He ain't sending me $10 million. Let's talk real quick, and then we're gonna get because the show's supposed to be about the NFL draft. Let's talk about these playoffs. As I always said, playoffs. So I'm gonna start off. My Knicks. I had to turn the game off because I knew we was gonna lose the game last night. They upset me because they just couldn't get focused. First game, they came back that 21-point fourth quarter run, or they had 40 points in the fourth quarter. They look good, but it's just like it's Brunson's gonna get his. Somebody else has got to step up and get theirs. Like they said, Towns. What's his name? He didn't even get a shot.
Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yeah, Cat didn't even get a shot in the fourth quarter. How's that happen? You went and got this man.
It's his fault.
I don't know.
You think it's
that's his fault and that's the coach's fault.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. Brunson might not pass you might not pass you the basketball, but you can't get an offensive rebound. He didn't have any offensive rebounds. There's nothing.
You can. I'm not gonna say you got to get him the ball. Get the man the ball. That's what you're paying him for.
I get that, but if Brunson is not passing the basketball, then what other way can you get the ball?
That you're right. That is one way to do it, but I'm saying it's on the coach and get him the ball. Don't make that the only way. Let him have options.
That's what I said. I said blame Cat, but also blame the coach because Thibodeau does a lot of lurching. He does stuff. He does his Don Staley impersonation.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it clean. Dumb stuff. Yeah, but it's just like it is. It's coaching and it's the team that you're on that makes a difference. Because I remember having the conversation. I can't pull it up. I was looking for it when we were talking about Tobias Harris, and y'all was talking about he was garbage. He ain't garbage. He was on the wrong team. Embiid and that coach. Well, he's playing very well.
Here's the thing. I think right now, I just think Detroit is a more hungry team, is a better team overall. Bernie Bickerstaff is coaching, is putting his players in better positions, and Cade Cunningham, he's just that dude. Because here's the thing, and I'll be honest, man. I mean, I watched both of those games. Just like you. I got to question a lot of these, and it's funny because a lot of teams make it seem like, okay, you trying to get these players ready. They had all this rest. Most of the teams, besides the playing teams, had all this rest leading into the playoffs, and it's like then you get to the playoffs and you see players like Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges and Kyle Kuzma. A lot of these cats ain't got no heart. I mean, and folks are afraid to say it because they want to say good grades for these athletes, but. No,
that's a little rough, ain't it?
I disagree. I disagree with they ain't got no heart. They ain't got no stamina. They couldn't. No.
What they do have is stamina because they out here running cardio. Kyle Kuzma has zeros all across the board in Milwaukee's loss against the Pacers and played 21 minutes.
Oh, you done jumped to another game? No.
But I'm saying I named players. I mean, hell, you can look at Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. had points in the first game, but in the last night was doing cardio. Zeros across the board.
Okay.
For Detroit.
I ain't gonna say they ain't got heart. Nah. I mean, they say the same thing. You got to be put in a position to do certain things. You got to be. You can't be aggressive if you ain't got the ball.
Rebounding, steals, defense. That's all effort. You can do something if you're out there on the court. You can do something because nine players at one time do not have the ball in their hands. So you out there. You got to be able to do something while you're.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing, but I ain't gonna take a man's heart for it.
Oh, well,
I can't say that. I ain't gonna make that claim. Let me ask you about the Lakers. What do you think?
I thought you had a question for me.
What do you think about them? What do you think about them in the playoffs? What do you think about them? I mean, I think if they lose, they're done.
I'll be honest. You say what?
I think if they lose, they're done.
Oh, I'm with you. I don't disagree at all. The Lakers, again, they probably had more time off than anybody because once they secured the number 3 seed for them, to avoid playing OKC and that after the bracket, how you come out that flat and other players. That's a coaching issue. That was I put that on JJ Redick.
Okay.
I put on Redick, but I also put on LeBron James because you're supposed to be the team leader, and the fact that you come out and you don't score any points in the first quarter, you don't even take a shot in the first quarter. You're just out there again. We talk about cardio. Makes me wonder, and people talking about, well, he might, the man had 10 days from his groin injury, from the last time he played. He's healthy, and the fact that you started that game off like that, and you let Minnesota dictate the tempo of that game.
So who's your
Darren? I'm just saying though, man. 10 days on a growing injury. Have you ever had a growing injury?
yeah. Had a few.
Take more than 10 days, player.
Well, hold on.
And especially
that's not one that goes away easy.
Okay, hold on. Before, but he had the groin injury, took time off, came back and played. So his groin injury was obviously well enough for him to come back and
Now
play.
we ain't gonna say
Plus
obviously
an
because we don't
additional
know.
10 days of rest.
We don't know. We don't know.
I don't know.
Give me your impression of OKC. You think they can do that through the playoffs? Because they just look
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So
I
that's
said
my
because
team to
they
beat.
have
That's not my team, but that's the team to beat.
that's the team to beat in the West.
Okay.
I think we talked about this before, but I do have Cleveland and OKC in the finals. I just
No Boston.
no. I
Okay.
just think I just think I just think Oklahoma City, man, they're just a complete team.
Yeah, they do.
And they were number one in I believe in almost every defensive category this season, and they can score. They can put points on. Again,
Yeah, they were. The game the other night was if I was Memphis, I'd have been like just the coach. You had your starters out
Get
there
over
playing. I'd
here.
have just sat there. What you
and,
say? What you say, Niche?
Get over here. I'm telling they heart.
yeah, and look, and I'll say this: you can go back. You can go
Yeah.
back. I think it was the game was played in Cleveland, but I think probably one of the best games of the season was I think the Cavs had beat OKC in Cleveland. I mean, and it was a high scoring game, but it was also a good defensive game. I mean, it was a good game all the way around. And I think for pure basketball purposes, that's going to me I think make the best NBA Finals.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Right.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And who you think is the best duo or in the playoffs right now?
Duo.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Man,
go with.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna say right now the way they if the playoffs is any indication, I got to say Kawhi Leonard and James Harden.
Okay.
See, I can tell by
He
y'all
looked really good
reaction
last
that
night.
y'all that probably wasn't gonna be y'all
I'm
answer.
digging Steph and Jimmy.
Yeah. No, that's fair. If I'm being, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Tanisha,
digging.
you liking that one?
Yeah, I am. I'm holding on to it. Let me see how it
Yeah,
hold up.
you liking that
I
one?
think
I
Jimmy
mean, ain't
got
nothing
Yeah,
wrong
strong.
with it either.
last
Hmm?
two games, and I mean, and I guess you could say even their loss against the Clippers. That's a good combo. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would still take the Clippers to right now just because of the way James Harden. Look, if there's ever a time for someone to get that stigma, that playoff stigma off, is right now for James Harden and
right.
Kawhi
Damn,
and Kawhi being healthy. Man, that's a
That
scary deal.
right.
ain't it? What you
That
got,
is
Linda?
scary.
What
Right.
about
Yeah.
you, Linda? Who's your combo?
I like I like what I see with the two you just said, and it just went out of my head.
Steph and Jimmy.
Kawhi, huh? No,
Why
uh,
not?
yeah,
Damn. All right.
yeah.
We don't ever agree on shit. I know nothing. Go
No,
ahead.
I like both of them, but I like that one a little better, and I think maybe that's because of the full team dynamics. Maybe that's why I like that one better
Got you.
because of the full
All right.
team dynamics. But yeah, I never thought those two would gel the way they're gelling. That was a surprise to me. Yours, Tanisha, I like. I mean, 38, 37, in one of the play-in games. Yeah,
I
impressive.
mean, and I look, it's easy to say LeBron and Luca, but I mean,
I was thinking them. I was really thinking them, but
I wasn't
and I
gonna say
guess
that.
a reason I don't say them because they just didn't click the other night. They were clicking earlier. They just weren't clicking. If they start clicking, um, I'm not a Luca fan. I've
I'm
just
a, t-
never been a Luca
I'm a
fan.
damn sure Luca fan, but maybe
Yeah.
LeBron can take Luca in the off season and
It seemed
get
like
him
when he
right.
got there, he was in shape, and then all of a sudden now he just seems like he's sloppy again. So I don't know. He forced a lot of shots in that last game. We'll see what happens. We got some games coming on, but let's jump. All
All right.
right, we're gonna jump to why we are here. Let's jump to this NFL draft. Who y'all got coming off the board first? Number one, going where?
I think
Talk about
for me it's Cam, obviously.
it. And tell me why.
well, Tennessee needs a quarterback, and I mean, he's the number one rated quarterback in this draft. So,
No
ergo,
brainer.
you know,
No brainer. You keeping Will?
You said no, Will Levitt?
right?
I'm sorry,
Well,
Lord.
yeah, they tried
I'm
that experiment and that
sorry,
one
Lord.
didn't work. So they say that's the first quarterback you got coming off the board. Now
That's
they
first
said
player, yeah, and also, the GM for the Titans is a former, obviously, chief front office assistant under Brett Veach. So he obviously knows a thing or two about drafts and quarterback stuff like that. So if there's any type of quote unquote comparison in Cam Ward to Patrick that some people have tried to put out there, I don't really like comparing players or anything like
I
that.
don't
But
either.
but
I
if he's
don't either.
but if he's good like that, you think you can get your quarterback again. Look, the problem that well, I don't even want to call it a problem, but the issue that I have with a lot of these players, or with some of these players, where people are saying, let's just say, for example, Shador Sanders, suppose he was going to be like the number 2 pick or top 3, whatever. Now, say he may fall all the way down to 21 or something. The thing is, yeah, it's a matter of where you go, but also coaching has to matter. People make it seem like they're going to get these players and they're just going to come in and just have all the talent in the world to just go out there and just run an
No,
offense
you got
without
to go
any
to the right
coaching.
system. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they on the board, right? They're saying
And
the best player over on the board overall. So let's
keep it
talk about
100
where they
when we
may
get
go.
to. I'm
Say,
gonna keep it 100 when we get to Mr. Sanders. Let's go.
yeah,
Let's roll.
we're gonna definitely get to him. So they're saying Abdul Carter, number 1 player overall, edge. You agree with that
We on the big
assessment?
board.
Well, I agree. Yeah, with that, yes.
Who
Yeah.
needs him? Who gonna get him?
I think it's gonna be he's gonna go off the board third pick of the draft.
Yeah, I'm thinking that
To
they
the
might.
Giants.
I think the Giants. Yeah, if they don't, if they don't take a quarterback, or for
That's
whatever
fine.
reason they don't swap with, or if Cleveland decides to surprise everybody, take Abdul Carter, then they would get Travis Hunter. But yeah, I think Abdul Carter goes to the Giants as well.
Okay. Now Travis Hunter, where do you think he's going? Or when?
Cleveland,
Well, I'm hearing that they. I'm
Cleveland.
hearing that.
he's
I'm
going.
hearing that they are listening to offers.
Yeah.
Should be the number 2, but rumor is that they listening to offers. They are not. They're not shutting people down, which is always kind of interesting because we know Cleveland few years back they was collecting picks like they like like they ain't know what to do. Like they weren't gonna never use a pick. So I don't know. Cleveland
Now they're
Travis should come off the board at number 2 if I'm a Brown, but whatever.
they're
We'll
drafting.
see.
Cleveland doesn't have any room to really get this pick around. I mean, trying to get multiple draft picks to trade down and or to move down and get additional no, because
Mm-hmm.
they have to get an impact player and they have to find a quarterback in this draft. So,
Maybe this Deshaun year.
well, he's not going to play unless
He's not
he's
gonna play this year.
yeah,
Yeah, he definitely not gonna play this year. So I don't
he's
know.
rehabbing.
Um so I mean if you were to break it down, would you go by order of who's picking and what they need and where you would put them, or you want to go by the players that are on the board? Talk to me. Talk to me.
We can go down, but I mean the question is each team's need is different. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Who got
but
picked?
I'll
So you just don't pick up something to, or excuse me, someone just to pick them up because that's the best
Oh,
player
there
on the board,
are
unless you're trying to
teams
trade
that
up or trade
there,
down. Hmm?
there are teams that if the guy that you want is not on board, you pick best player available.
Oh, I agree. If your person that you wanted, yes, is no longer there, you definitely pick the best available. But I don't. Go ahead, Tanisha. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. That's all I was saying is that it's gonna be teams that they guys gone and they're gonna pick best player on the board.
yeah, because I'll be honest. The one thing I look the one I love movies, I love TV, but the one thing I can't do is be an actor, and I can't act like I can do Brett Veach's job. Now, now when it comes to free agency, I feel like I can do that because I can see where we need to be plugging holes in that. But when it comes to the draft, the problem is that the Chiefs have been picking so low between 28 and 32 and stuff over the last 7, 8 years. Is that again? It all comes down to who's readily available and what you got in your draft room because you're not going to get Abdul Carter. You're not going to get Travis Hunter at 31. So I can't even imagine what the Chiefs might be looking for at that time because whoever they might be wanting, unless they trade up to get who they want. Or to get somebody like I think that they did last year when they traded with Buffalo and ended up getting Xavier Worthy,
Yeah.
oh, I can't believe that, because some people thought they were going to get Keon Coleman. Why I don't know, but So it's hard because there's not a lot of. I mean, I think they said there's probably like maybe 3 high impact players: Ashton Genty, Hunter, and Carter. And so it's like outside of those 3, now it's just like, okay, who's a good
Who needs
fit?
what? So if we
Yeah,
say
yeah,
Tennessee needs a quarterback, right?
yeah.
So
But
Ward.
it's a great thing. Tennessee, Cleveland, New
But
York,
I'm just saying, if
New
we
Orleans.
go that route, so Tennessee needs a quarterback, they get Ward.
Yeah.
Cleveland needs a quarterback. Do they take Sanders? He's supposed to be
Well,
the QB2.
initially that was the talk, and then they thought Hunter was going to go
So
to New York, and so I mean, but if they're
Tanisha,
going to go that route, that's just
Tanisha, Tanisha, Tanisha got some strong feelings about Sanders.
let's
I
go.
want to hear these.
Let's talk about it because
Let's
I got
talk
strong
about it.
feelings too.
I got some strong feelings about the fact that every damn year I got to watch the NFL pull this bullshit and run down the
Let's
black
keep it clean.
quarterback. Excuse me, run down the black quarterback that been doing well, and now all of a sudden they can't play football no more.
Who's been doing well?
Shador, what he didn't do?
Oh, okay. He ain't win nothing, but go ahead. He been doing well.
I'll pop it like this. Arch Manning ain't won nothing, but obviously he's supposed to be the
Arch
top
Manning
quarterback.
is Arch Manning in the draft?
Well, he'll probably be in the draft next year.
Okay,
But
let's talk
they
about
gonna
him
make
next
some.
year then.
I mean, but he ain't won nothing. But they're projected to be the number 1 pick.
Let's talk about him next year when he's in the draft.
Okay.
So you think I've never been impressed with Sanders.
No, I know that I've
devil's
watched the
advocate.
pattern. I've watched the pattern over years since I watched my nephew go into the draft. And every year it's the same nonsense. You got these black quarterbacks that have been playing and doing well in college, and then they get to the draft, and all of a sudden they knock them down, whether it was Lamar. I watched Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, I watched all of
Deshaun
that.
Watson, we can use him too.
I'm getting him Deshaun Watson.
And Cam,
it's the same.
Okay, I'm just asking the question. Cam Ward is white.
Year after year after year.
Is Cam Ward white?
He's black.
Oh, okay. And he's going to be the number 1 pick. That's what y'all projecting.
That's not what I just said, though, Linda. Okay. Hell, I ain't say all the black quarterbacks. I said I watch them knock down a black quarterback like that. I ain't say everyone. Okay. They can't knock them all down. But you gonna tell me that I'm not right about Deshaun Watson being all of a sudden he was showing improving in college, and then he gets in there and he's the third one to come off the board behind a dude that played 16 games, and then we can't hardly remember last week.
I don't disagree with you. I thought we were talking about Sanders. I'm not impressed with Sanders. I thought we were talking about Shador Sanders.
I think it's
a lot of baggage. I think it's a lot of baggage that comes with Sanders. I think that's part of his problem, not just him. I'm not impressed with him, and never was I impressed with him as a player. But I think the baggage of the whole Sanders thing. No, you can shake your head, do what you want to do. No, I wasn't impressed with him, and I pray he don't go to the Giants. I said it. I said it out loud.
Giants is a losing organization anyway right now, so it don't matter.
And that ain't gonna make us no better.
Well,
so that's Linda's opinion. That's it. Y'all can.
I mean,
turn your head,
look,
turn it around, flip it backwards.
Hold on.
I don't give a shit.
You're right because the Giants were smart enough to extend Daniel Jones and then cut bait 2 years later. So yes, you're right.
You're talking like I made those decisions. I think that was the dumbest decision. And you heard
that's
me
your team.
over and over.
I mean,
it's my team. I don't make the decision. Just like you said, you ain't Brett Veach. I'm not sitting in that front office. Because if that was the case, Daniel Jones would have been gone, and we still would have had Saquon. So I'm not asking. I'm not talking as a GM. I'm talking as a fan. I don't like him. I don't think he's that great.
Hold on. Why don't you like him? What did he do to you?
Giants?
Is he not accurate?
Hold on. What did he do to you that you don't like him?
He ain't did nothing to me. I'm not impressed with him. I'm just not impressed with him. I'm not impressed with his game. Drop back 20 yards, take a sack. I'm not impressed with his game. That's it. The person that impressed me on that team, Travis Hunter.
Who threw in the ball?
It was some wild catches.
Who threw in the ball?
It was some wild. I don't care who threw in the ball. I'm not impressed with him.
Okay,
I'm not impressed with him. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. We seen scrubs. Shit, Will Levis was throwing the ball to Andre Hopkins.
But he wasn't throwing the ball to Travis Hunter.
Does that make him a great quarterback? So come on now.
Okay, well, that's fine. I guess we'll just disagree with that.
Spoke my piece.
But I'll say this: when it comes to Shador again,
where do you think he's going to land? That's
Yeah, they pushing them
because
down.
they
So
done
like
pushed them. They done pushed
they
them
working a
down.
number on
I
them.
mean,
Whoever
push him
they is,
down. I
they done
mean,
pushed them down so
he could have
bad.
ended up at Pittsburgh at 21. A team could trade back into if he falls below number 9, which is the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
A team could trade back up into the first round and get him. Look, I would actually hope that Cleveland trades back into the first round and picks him up and keep him and Travis together.
So you said trade back into the first round. They're in there. Who did they trade out? When did Cleveland trade out of the first round?
No, I'm talking about they have the
I'm
number
talking about
33
after.
pick.
Yeah, he's
So
saying
they can
come
trade
back up,
because
After their
move back
second
up.
pick.
Yeah,
no,
After
no,
move
no,
their
back
no,
up.
second.
no, yeah, yeah. After second, yes, after their number 2
Oh,
pick,
okay.
yeah.
I thought
Cleveland
something
has the
happened that
first
I didn't
pick
know about.
Cleveland has the first pick in round number 2, so they can trade back in with somebody
Gotcha.
if they wanted to. If somebody was willing to be
Gotcha.
a trade partner.
Okay.
Y'all can get him at the last pick of the first round.
Who's y'all?
Giants.
I'm happy with
Giants had the second pick. They would.
Russell and I'm happy with Jameis. I think we can
Yeah,
do
but
something with
but
that.
they're not long term. They're
I
not
know
long
they ain't
term
long term.
players.
I'd rather wait for the next draft and see what happens or see what shakes out. But
Yeah,
I'm
but
happy with Russ.
the only problem with that, if it were to come to that, you're not guaranteed, because you don't know how the season's going to progress. So you don't know if you're going to have the top pick or where you might end up win loss wise in the season,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on where you fall in the draft, there's no guarantee that if there's an arch man and if he plays one next year, will go into the draft or if he might come back for another year.
What's gonna be a cowboy?
Yeah. So I mean, again, NIL makes a big difference now, though.
Ain't no guarantees. I mean, we could trade for one, we could pick up
No,
one.
no, no, no.
I've
I
been
get
trying for
I
Russell
get
Wilson to get to New York for the last
no, 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 no,
17
no,
years.
no. I get I get you with that. No, but no. Only thing I'm saying is that now with NIL being what it is, it's like these quarterbacks or these players don't really have don't have that urgent need to come out. Now, granted, if you're gonna be a top 1, 2, 3 pick, that's different because the money's a lot different.
So
But
let's stay there for 1 second because I'm
sure,
hearing a lot of these pro athletes. These are pro athletes that are
Mhm.
coming out saying that there's a lot of misnomers about these NIL deals. Now, I know you get money from the school, but if you take like let's use an Angel Reese for
Mhm.
example, right? Angel came out of college. Angel ain't lost a penny because them endorsements follow you, and that's what some of these players are saying. There's a misnomer that once you leave college your endorsements stop. Now, if your contract is written like that, then yes. But most of these their endorsements are going to follow. So they're not. We talk about how much money they're losing. They're not. Now, if you have the player,
Who said they was
I
losing
get. Let
money?
me finish. Let me finish because I've been doing a little research on this. You do
Mhm.
have schools where there's little supplemental stuff coming in. So depending on where the school is, you're gonna get that extra 2-3 million, and maybe and it's probably more than that. It depends on the school. That's where you're gonna get that money from. That's the money you're gonna lose if you go pro. If you don't have those endorsements, but let's not fool everybody or have people thinking that when they get out of college, they lose everything that they was getting in college, and now they just gonna get that bone salary, rookie salary that they was getting in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, you look at Caitlin Clark. She was getting an NIL deal. She got more money when she got to the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? So the money just don't dry up because you went pro. Some of
Yeah,
them are staying an extra year because they want to prove themselves and try to get them deals that's gonna carry on to the
got
NFL.
you. But
Go ahead.
Caitlin is a star. Star.
I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, Tanisha, but what I'm saying is we act like these players are going into the NFL broke. They're not.
Oh,
That's
I
a misnomer. They're not.
don't know who said that, but
So
A
who
lot
I
of
said
understand.
that?
people they stay in college because of these NIL deals, and if
Nothing
they
they
go
don't
there,
know.
they're gonna make less money. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do it's not this case by case. It's not
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
No,
case
no,
at all.
I agree with you there. No, 'cause-
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is some of these players could actually enjoy the college experience too. I mean, so some of them
You
might,
think they really enjoying going to class and doing all that? But shit, well, no, don't even answer that because they ain't going to class. So
hey,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So
All
nah,
right,
it is real.
let's jump back
Oh
on
no,
here.
no, hold on,
Uh-huh.
because I didn't get to say what I want to say about Shadur. But
Oh,
thing I was
sorry.
gonna say about thing I was gonna say about him. And look, and I respect your opinion about it. But my thing on this is that when people try to again come in, he played his last game. I think December 31st, January, whatever, in a bowl game, and did what he did. He won the top quarterback award for college football this past season, and threw for 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, and so he was none the wiser. Now at that time, say number 2 quarterback, probably top 5 pick coming into the draft. Somehow, someway between there and now, he somehow magically up. Nobody else has dropped, but just him. So again, I question these people and their motives for that. But the reason why I like Shador, nothing to do with his daddy, but because of his daddy, and they say, well, his dad has always coached him, which means that if he's been playing football since little league, he knows how to read a defense because his father is one of the greatest defensive players of all time. He obviously knows offense because he plays quarterback and has had Pat Sherman and other OCs. Deion was his OC, I think, while he was in high school.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was going, and plus, I mean, he's had one-on-one training with Tom Brady. Hence, the accuracy that he had that he showed last year, I think he was almost 75%, which was, I think even beat out Joe Burrow for best in college football history. So for me, whether it's whether the Giants or Cleveland or a team that needs a quarterback, he is someone who has dealt with the limelight, the bright lights because of who his daddy is, and ESPN and Fox Sports and all this stuff, and dealing with pressure because went from Jackson State to Colorado and doing.
What's
doing
your
all
point, Darren? Because you done said a whole lot.
Oh, I'm saying I just think he's built for it. I think he's built for it, and so my thing is like Tanisha saying, when people are trying to break him down and tear him down, it's like I don't know what you're looking for because he's never gotten in any trouble. All he focuses on is football, and I'm saying, and so he's a proven leader. I mean, we saw during the pro days and some of the other stuff. So I'm saying, someone a good character. Now, if you don't like his daddy, that's on you. Not
I ain't got nothing to do with his daddy. I don't. That's what I say. I don't like him. I don't want him as a Giant.
Linda, not you. I'm talking about the organization. If they don't like his daddy, they don't like his daddy. But I'm saying
they don't want to deal with the circus.
So
intangibles. They have some intangibles.
They don't want to deal with the circus.
We like to use.
There's a lot of stuff they don't want to deal with the circus. Just like we was talking about with that other chick, she got some intangibles she can play. They don't want to deal with the circus. So it's just it is what it is. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
I believe that Linda believes that when Colorado was there, it was more about everything else to show than it was about football. I believe that's. I'm not speaking for Linda, but I believe that's me knowing her well enough to know that she don't need the distraction. The distractions don't sit well with her.
It's not this distractions. I was not in numbers. Yeah, he had numbers. He had all kind of but they didn't win. Did they win the bowl game?
He did not.
Right. He
just
Miami
has not.
Either. He got the numbers. Yeah, his numbers make sense. You know why? And he ain't taking interceptions. He ain't doing that because he's taking 30-yard sacks. I'm not impressed with him. That's just Linda. I'm not impressed with him, and I feel like I'd rather roll my dice with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston than I would with him. And maybe he wouldn't even be a starter. Maybe he would come in him. But
Pittsburgh and Denver did too.
Pittsburgh and Denver is two different teams. So hey.
I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy, but if Pete Carroll, when the Raiders coach, I would think that he was going to the Raiders. But I know Pete Carroll like a good running back, so we go. Let's get down. Let's finish. Let's give some picks out. Who we think we getting here? But
so I think you hit one. The Raiders are in there, right? You think the Raiders are gonna look for a running back?
If he gets there, Carroll, I mean, he could.
If he gets that low, they'll pull him in.
He's number 6.
Yeah. Ashton Genty, but Jacksonville could be looking for a running back too.
Who could?
Yeah, but
Jacksonville at number 5.
Jacksonville.
Who'd they lose? They got ATN and who left Jacksonville? I mean, but you think they would pick up another one?
You always want to have depth. I mean,
okay.
Maybe they keep them and they go with Mason Graham or somebody. I don't know, but we'll see.
Okay.
And at number 4, you've got New England. So
they need everything, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Will Campbell.
Who? Yeah.
Will Campbell.
You said what?
Will Campbell.
Will Campbell. Okay, I couldn't hear you. Speak up. Yeah. I can't hear nothing. Okay. And you said Jacksonville looking for a running back. Vegas looking for a running back. If they don't get a running back, then where are they going?
I think that if Which one, Vegas or Jacksonville?
If Jacksonville takes the running back, who's Vegas picking up?
I think Jacksonville, Vegas will pick up.
He'll probably get a tackle, somebody on the line to help protect Geno.
Okay.
Armand Membaro or whatever his name
was that
is.
surprising that Geno going to the Raiders?
No, not really. Not after they got Pete Carroll. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think surprising was the fact that they signed him to the extension, because that kind of takes a quarterback off the board. So more or less, because I think maybe like either you or Tanisha, I thought that might have been a place where
Shador could up, because Tom Brady
now, what
is
about
part owner in that too.
Didn't they throw his name out there too, Shador, for the Saints, because they were saying Derek Carr may not?
That's what I thought that'd be a perfect match.
That's.
But do you think he would hang that long? You think Sanders will stay that long?
Oh, the way he dropping act like he might be at the end of the.
I did hear today, which was crazy to me. I was surprised, and like I said, not being a fan of his, I was still surprised to hear that he could fall as low or even into early second round. I'm like, early second round.
That's crazy to me.
He's the only player. He's the only player.
That's a steal. If he fall to the second round, somebody is happy.
Yeah, of course. You ain't got to pay him.
But to your point, Linda. I mean, when it was reported that Derek Carr had that shoulder, I was like, oh well, that should do it right there. And look, I can't remember who all they may have on offense, but I know they are pretty stout defensively, because I know.
But their offense have just been banged up.
That's the problem.
They're banged up.
You got all this off season, so
they was getting concussed left and right.
I mean, MVS was their man last year, and they released him, didn't they?
No, he was only on a 1-year deal. I think he's up in Seattle now.
Okay,
but they do have Alvin Kamara still. They do, maybe Chris Olave. He's a nice receiver.
He's like concussed.
I said he was concussed up.
Every time they hit him, they try to take him out.
I put like that. I mean, they do have some players on. They do have some offensive players. The problem is they just, they really couldn't bring anybody in outside of Justin Reed, for real, because of salary cap implications. I mean, but on the defense, they got Cam Jordan. They still got Tyrann Matthew. They got Colin Saunders. I mean, that's basically the second Chiefs organization down there, because that's where all the Chiefs players go. They go to New Orleans.
They go to New Orleans. They want to play inside the dome. They've been cold for too many years out there in Kansas. All right, we're gonna run through some of these.
Missouri,
like with who's left in the draft, right? After you look at,
I'm not going to get away with
that. I'm sorry. I thought I said Kansas City. I know I said Kansas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes. Don't put me in with them folks.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about. No, I thought I said Kansas City. I cut myself short. Yeah. I'm geographically challenged. I'm not that challenged.
I love you.
So I got some teams that, the Jets. What do you think the Jets need?
Man, with Aaron Glenn, he makes me wonder if they're gonna go defense, but since you got Justin Fields, I would think that you would probably try to improve that offense some more. Man, I don't know. That's a good question. But you could probably protect them on that offense. Well, they had a bad offensive line, so I can see them probably trying to solidify that up some more.
Okay. So I'm just picking teams now. So Los Angeles Rams.
Well, if Shador somehow fell away,
that face went whole. Wait a minute, let Tanisha get that out, because she almost sucked her lips all the way into the back of her mouth.
Because immediately I thought of Shador. If he fall, you sitting behind a Stafford, learn from a veteran. He's a great guy, supposedly, competitor. That's a good look. That's a good look.
Okay.
Good, but you know what though? Now I think about it, because they gave up, because they let Cooper Kupp go, I could see them kind of replacing with a wide receiver. And even though they did get DeAndre Hopkins and they got Puka Nacua, again, Matthew Stafford, offense like that, you kind of just want to put as much stuff out there as you can. You already got Kyron Williams back there. If you can make the offense even stronger, because of what you face in the NFC, especially NFC West, and some of those teams that are going to be high scoring, or if the Rams take on a team like the Eagles again, you want to be able to put points on the board. So
let's look at the Commanders, because they were right there. What are they missing?
Ooh, I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Ooh,
don't think they missing anything for real. I mean, you just gonna
they
be.
they they set.
So maturity,
They adding
growth.
some
This a
some
young team. You
experience.
don't think they've
Just yep,
You
experience?
probably put
just some
somebody on
That's,
experience.
defense. You
I
probably you
couldn't. I
probably add
used
to the
every word
defense.
except for experience, Tanisha. I appreciate you because my vocabulary was
Yep,
stuck at that
experience.
point.
I
I say
got
they
you.
probably go defense. I think they
We've
go
been together
defense.
a long time.
I know you
We've
got
been
my
better.
six.
I
I
got
know.
you.
I
You all
know.
right?
I think they go defense, Linda.
You said defense.
I think they go defense
Okay. I,
because I mean they really did enhance the offense when they traded for Debo Samuels, and so he's going to be playing running back and
All
wide
right.
receiver. So I think you can enhance the
If he
defense,
can,
add some depth to it.
it'll be wonderful if Debo can stay healthy.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you will.
I think he's
He can
and I
stay
think he's
healthy.
going to be happier. I don't think he was happy
Yeah,
in San Francisco for a bit. I really don't. I think he was
I
ready
think
to
they could
go.
also. I think they could use it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe don't be surprised if they get another wide receiver. Give him some more weapons.
Okay.
Don't be
Because I
surprised.
mean, we all know he's a threat. All right. Then
Yep.
Philadelphia. What is Philadelphia looking for? I think personally they got
man,
to
the Fools
replace some.
they're probably going to add to their defense. They are.
That's what I was gonna say. Defense. They
They
don't.
probably just going to add to that defense.
What else?
I'm
What
agreeing.
else?
Chiefs.
Hold on. I'll say
Mhm.
this. One thing that we haven't talked about because we don't know, but pretty sure it might be some draft day trades, some actual players that get traded. Which
Yeah.
because I think Jerry Jones said he mentioned today that they're in talks with some substantial trades that might be coming on draft day. So we got to be kind of open minded about that too. That something might happen
Oh,
like that on
something
draft day.
gonna happen.
But if you're the Chiefs, man, as much as I hate it, they'll probably go offensive tackle. But the problem I have is that they've been having these high draft picks. Or well, high is relative because of where they've been trading, but um, getting these offensive linemen, getting these offensive quote unquote tackles, and they haven't been panning out. For me, I got a problem with that. I would rather they get another wide receiver or defense or something. And I said it because I'm tired of them putting some young, inexperienced player to try to protect Patrick's blind side. Like, go get you a veteran. I know you couldn't. I know you couldn't get Trent Williams when he was available first time around. He ended up signing with San Francisco.
Oh, who you telling?
But to keep going. I mean, obviously they try to do Jawan Taylor when they signed him. They try to move him to left tackle. Like, okay, no, we're gonna keep you at right tackle. And then they brought in Donovan Smith. Donovan Smith played well for 9 games. He got hurt, came back, played well in the Super Bowl. They didn't bring him back at all last year. They tried to have Wanye Morris 2 years ago as a rookie. They tried to have Kingsley last year, and it didn't work out. And I know they signed. I know they traded for Trent Williams' backup this past or signed his
Right.
backup this offseason. So we'll see where that goes. But to me, I'm not wasting another
Okay.
high draft pick on a tackle. That's just me personally. I would rather if you're gonna use on offense, go ahead and just give Patrick another damn weapon.
There you go.
Hell, they could have. If that was okay, they could have kept some of the ones they had. They was as cheap. Like
Well,
they got them for a cold cut in a bag of chips. They could have kept the ones he had. You know
all
it's
right.
gonna
We
be a
could go
tackle.
on.
Gotta be
This
a
show could go
tackle.
on for like 2-3 hours. What we're
Yeah.
gonna pick. We're gonna do another show and we're gonna grade everybody on who they pick. But I do want to talk about one last team before we wrap it up. Pittsburgh.
Mm.
I think if he does fall that far, I think it is going to be Shador Sanders. If he falls that far, and nobody trades that for him, I think Shador ends up in Pittsburgh. Which, to be honest, would be a good situation for him. It's a winning professional organization. You got a coach who is, I mean, he's of the
He
culture,
is
so
who he is, right?
you don't
Right.
have to worry about it. I mean, and you got a ready made off. And look, we talked about it earlier. Sometimes it's a matter of where you go because right now if Shador was end up in Cleveland or even New York as you talked about, I mean they're
Is
not
that
accustomed
good
to
for
winning.
him or is that bad for him?
Yeah, I mean, but if you go to Pittsburgh, you could be a day one starter, and you got weapons already. You got your running back, you got your George Pickens, you got you DK Metcalf, and you got a solid defense. All you got to do is just not muck it up.
That's
So
it.
I, I
I
wouldn't
agree.
I wouldn't I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I agree. All right, Darren, I'm gonna go to you first. What you got for closing thoughts? It ain't gotta be about sports, it can be about anything.
Just keep this country in your prayers. I mean, we all know what's going on in Washington, and when it comes to taxes and Department of Education and student loans and all this other stuff, and what's going on in this country, and the effects it's having across the world, and what they're doing in response to what we're doing. Just keep this country in prayer, man, and let's not look let's not look at the at the macro without looking at the micro, and seeing what we need to do to keep our sanity, because right now it's going to get worse before it gets good.
Okay.
Actually, Darren,
Denise.
that you took mine. You took mine. That's what I was thinking. I mean, we need prayer, and even if you're not religious, do something.
Whatever it is you
The
believe in,
country,
it's
yeah,
just
whatever it is.
yeah.
To me, we are in some rough times right now, and it's a lot. And I mean, I work in government. I'm watching a lot of people, tiptoe around and losing jobs and taking early outs. It's different. I can't ever say since I've been, maybe one time they kind of downsized a little bit, but this is real, and I'm not sure that it ends anytime soon. So I just know a lot of families are hurting and shocked, and just pray for them, or whatever, wish them well, whatever you do, because people need it these days.
Yep. And I what is it, third? No, a second, I third it. I agree, but I know you said focus on the micro, not the macro. I think I need to focus on. I'm focusing on all worldwide. I mean, we just lost a pope. He was a very progressive pope. I think he, had some impacts, some positive impacts on things that were going on in the world. I think that with the government, I think it's opened people's eyes to what others outside of the government who are losing their jobs, to everyday Joes and Sallies that have been losing their jobs for years. So it's opening people's eyes because now it's impacting them. So you never know what, like they say, the person next to you is going through. So show a little kindness. So that's really,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's really my message. And my closing thoughts is I do believe I'm an optimist. I try to stay that way.
Sure.
That's gonna get better. But Darren, you're right. It's probably gonna go down before it goes up. But we're gonna get there. I believe we're gonna get there. We're a resilient people, and I pray that we get there. So, um, unless y'all want
Better
to,
we've always worked better together.
that's it. That's it. So,
Facts.
like we always say, hey, until next time, please be kind, be blessed. It's free.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you for tuning in to Two Gems and a Mic. Be sure to subscribe and follow. Until next time, remember, be kind, be blessed. Peace.